Hello, good morning students. In last session we discussed about the Fimbriae, pili, nuclear material and plasmids. Today we have to discuss about the membrane bound cell organelle, that is mesosome, as well as reserve materials and other cellular inclusions present in cytoplasm. Okay, membrane bound organelle, that is called as a mesosome. Now these mesosomes or chondroids are folded invaginations in the plasma membrane of bacteria that are produced by the chemical fixation techniques used to prepare samples for electron microscopy. As this mesosome, that is the folded invaginations of plasma membrane, they are very smaller in size and they can be observed by using electron microscopy. On the basis of its ultrastructural aspects, the mesosome can be classified as a membrane bounded organelles, but the absence of known functional specificity at this time make this assignment presumptive. It is possible that this structure may be an extension of even a functionally efficient region of the peripheral membrane. See, this is the structure of mesosome. Here is the cell wall, and to the cell wall there is a cell membrane, and this mesosome that is originated in cell membrane or plasma membrane. Okay, and these are the enfolded cytoplasmic membrane or folded invaginations. They are found in the bacterial cell. Is it okay? So this is the diagrammatic representation of mesosome which is present in bacteria. Now specialization is usually accompanied by reduction in generalized functions. Regardless, the mesosome does indeed represent physical compartmentation of the bacterial cell. Accordingly, should it be proved that specific enzymatic activities are not localized exclusively or chiefly in the mesosomes, its unique ultrastructural organization still potentially could provide for the concentration and localization of membrane associated biochemical functions at a specific sites within the cell. Actually, the exact function of that mesosome, that is not well understood, but as there is a mesosome that will function. The another cell organelle, that is a ribosome. A ribosome is a complex molecular machine found inside the living cells that produce proteins from amino acids during the process called protein synthesis or translation. The process of protein synthesis is a primary function which is performed by all living cells. Ribosomes are specialized cell organelles and found in both prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. Every living cell requires ribosomes for the production of proteins. Okay, and this cell organelle also functions by binding to messenger ribonucleic acid, or it is also called as a mRNA, and decoding the information carried out by the nucleotide sequence of the messenger RNA. The transfer RNA or tRNA comprising amino acids enter into the ribosomes at the acceptor site. Once it gets binds up, it adds amino acid to the growing protein chain on tRNA. Specifically, this mesosome that will plays important role here in messenger RNA. Okay, so ribosomes is a complex of RNA and protein, and is therefore known as a ribonucleoprotein. It is composed of two subunits, that is the smaller one and larger one. Okay, we know that in DNA there is a nucleoproteins, they are present, and there is a sugar which is present, that is deoxyribose. But in case of RNA, there is a ribose sugar that is present, and it will forms the ribosomes, or it will forms the RNA. Is it okay? Now the smaller subunits where the messenger RNA binds and is decoded, and in larger subunit the amino acid get added. That means the most important function of that RNA, that is the synthesis. That means this is the synthesizing factory of the cell. RNA, that will be called as a synthesizing factory of the cell, because it synthesize different proteins which are required for the cell with the help of mRNA, tRNA and rRNA. Is it okay? So both the subunit contain both protein and ribonucleic acid component. Here are the two subunits are joined to each other by interaction between the RNAs in one subunit and proteins in the other subunits. Ribosomes, they are located inside the cytosol, found in the plant cell and animal. The ribosome structure includes the following. That means how the ribosomes they are made. It is located in two areas of cytoplasm, scattered in the cytoplasm. Prokaryotes have 70S ribosome, while eukaryotes have 80S ribosomes. There are different types of ribosomes. They are present in prokaryotes and eukaryotes. In prokaryotes, there is a 70S ribosomes, and in eukaryotes there is a 80S ribosomes. And these 70 and 80S ribosomes, they are divided into two subunits. Okay, around 62% of ribosomes are composed of RNA, while the rest of the protein. Means whatever the composition which is present in the ribosome, among that 62% that is the ribosome, and other remaining that is the proteins which are present. Is it okay? And the structure of free and bound ribosomes is similar and is associated with the protein synthesis. The main role of the ribosome, that is the protein synthesis. Now there are some reserve materials and other cellular inclusions. They are also present in the cell cytoplasm, and these reserve materials and cellular inclusions, they are called as granules. Granules or the inclusions are often present in prokaryotic cell. Inclusions functions as a energy reserves and as reservoirs of the structural building blocks. That means whatever the needs or what are the requirement of cell structural component, they are synthesized in the cytoplasm. Okay, and whatever the energy sources or energy reserves, they are stored in the cytoplasm. Inclusion can often be seen directly with light microscope and are usually enclosed by a single layer, that is non-unit membrane, that partition them often in the cell. Storing carbon or other substances in an insoluble inclusion confers an advantages on the cell because it reduces the osmotic stress that would be encountered if the same amount of the substance was dissolved in the cytoplasm. That cytoplasm contains ribosomes, nucleides, then enzymes, three types of RNAs, and they form a jelly-like material inside the cytoplasm. They also contain some stored material or reserve material, that is sometimes called as inclusions. Now the carbon storage polymers. One of the most common inclusion bodies in the prokaryotic organism is polybeta hydroxy butyric acid, that is called as PHB granules. Okay, a lipid that is formed from beta hydroxybutyric acid units. Okay, so this is the, in short, it is called as a PHB granules. The monomers of PHB bound by ester linkage to form the PHB polymer, and the polymer aggregates into granules. The latter can be observed by either light or electron microscopy, and these carbon storage polymers that can be shown in the figure, that is in, we see it in the next slide. The monomer in the polymer is not only hydroxybutyrate, that is C4 carbon, but can vary in length from as short as C3 to as long as C18. That means there is a chain of carbons. Okay, so see, here is the polyhydroxy alkanotes, and see, this is the electron micrograph of thin section of cell of a bacterium containing PHA granules. Color photo Nile red stain cell of PHA containing bacteria. See, here is the polyhydroxy alkanate. These are the white portion. These are the inclusions of the cytoplasm. Okay, and these inclusion that will provides the energy. Okay, now thus the more generic term polyhydroxy alkanote or PHA is often used to describe this class of carbon and energy storage polymers. Here PHAs are synthesized by cell when there is an excess of carbon and are broken down for biosynthetic or energy purpose when conditions are warrant or adverse. We know that in case of human being also, when there is a extra foods they are taken in the form of carbohydrate, they are stored as a glycogen, and when there is a adverse condition, then this glycogen is again get converted into carbohydrate in a such a way. When there is a extra source or there is a additional source of carbon and energy, then that will be stored in the form of, that is, polybeta hydroxyalconate, and when there is a need, these reserve materials they are used as a source of energy. Now many prokaryotes including species of both bacteria and archaea, they produce these PHAs, that means the cellular inclusions or reserve materials. Another storage product is glycogen, which is the polymer of glucose. Now when there is a additional supply or there is an extra supply of glucose to the cell, at that time whatever the glucose that is required for the cell energy, that is utilized, and if there is a extra amount of glucose, that is get converted into the glycogen, and that will serve as a storage energy. Like PHA, glycogen is a storehouse of both carbon and energy. We know that this carbohydrate that will serve as one of the most important energy source, and it also contains the carbon, and that's why it will act as a source of carbon. Now glycogen is produced when carbon is in excess in the environment and is consumed when carbon is limited. That means if the supply of carbon that is depleted, at that time whatever the storage of glycogen that is broken down and it is used as a source of carbon. And when there is a additional supply or excess of carbon is there, then that excess of carbon that is get converted into the glycogen. Is it okay? That means in favorable condition they synthesize material, and when there is an adverse condition or the supply of these material they are depleted, at that time this storage material that will be used as a source of carbon and source of energy. Glycogen resembles starch. Glycogen that resembles like a starch, the major storage reserve of plant, but differs slightly from starch in the manner in which the glucose units they are linked together. Is it okay? So another reserve food material, that is the polyphosphate and sulfur. Many microorganisms accumulate inorganic phosphate, that is the PO4, in the form of granules or polyphosphate, which will be shown in the figure. Now these granules can be degraded and used as a source of phosphate for nucleic acid and phospholipid biosynthesis, and in some organisms can be used to make the energy rich compound, that is the ATP. Here the polyphosphate and sulfur, they are essential requirement of microorganism. We already studied that. In a nutritional requirement, there is a carbon is required, hydrogen is required, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, phosphate, potassium, sodium, sulfur. These are the macronutrients which are required in large amount, and there are some element which require in small amount or such a type of elements, they are called as a micronutrient. Is it okay? So here this phosphate, that is the macronutrient and which is required for the synthesis of nucleic acid. We know that in nucleic acid there is a phosphate that is attached, and also there is a phospholipids which are present in the cell. Their synthesis, there is a need of a raw material as a polyphosphate, and that raw material they are used, and there is a synthesis of phospholipid as well as nucleic acid. And in some cases, in addition to these reserve materials and cell inclusions, there are some energy rich compounds, that is the ATP. And for the synthesis of ATP, there is a phosphate that is required, and that's why here polyphosphate, they are useful for the synthesis of ATP. Now see here, the polyphosphate and sulfur storage products are here. See in this photographs, we see here the granular material, and these granules, they are called as a polyphosphate granules. Okay, here is the phase contrast photomicrograph of cell of Heliobacterium modesty caldum, showing polyphosphate as a dark granules. A cell is about a micrometer wide. Okay, means see here, these are the cell inclusions, or these are the polyphosphate inclusions. Now in the second diagram, we see the granular material, and these are the sulfur granules which are present in the cell. Okay, and this is the bright field photomicrograph of the cell of the purple sulfur bacterium, that is the Isochromatium buderi. The nitrocellular inclusions are sulfur globules formed from the oxidation of hydrogen sulfide, that is H2S. A single cell has about 4 micrometer wide, and it contains the sulfur granules. Is it okay? See, these are the granular material which is present in the cytoplasm of the cell. Okay, now phosphate is often a limiting nutrient in natural environment. Thus, if cell happens upon the excess of phosphate, it is the advantageous to be able to store it is polyphosphate for future use. Many gram-negative prokaryotes can oxidize reduced sulfur compounds such as hydrogen sulfide, that will act as a source of hydrogen as well as that will act as a source of, that is the sulfur. Now the oxidation of sulfide is linked to either reactions of energy metabolism, that is the chemolithotrophy, or CO2 fixation, that is the autotrophy. In either case, elemental sulfur may accumulate in the cell in microscopically visible